is being given by His Excellency Governor, Chief Minister, and Adam Parr, the Deputy Director of FCDO's Overseas Territories and Poland Directorate. The conference will last for 30 minutes and there will be an opportunity to ask questions. I would therefore ask all media organisations to be sensitive and respectful to each other, given the short time available for asking questions. I will now hand you over to His Excellency Governor.
Thank you for that. So, members of the press, thank you so much for attending today. As we all know, the FAM process and FAM Week is one of the major events that occur throughout the year, and I'm grateful to Adam once again coming out to lead the team, but also with him Ben and Hugh from the FCDO. They put an awful lot of work into ensuring that they are able to get the best possible picture from St Helena on what the situation is. To do that, they're of course reliant on the information that's prepared here. I think all I would say is a couple of words of introduction is this year has felt very different to former years. It is entirely the case, I think, that ministers have very much led the process. And that's something that I think shows the evolution of the governance model as we've seen it go through for the couple of years since the introduction of the ministerial system earlier in the, a few years ago. I will say the discussion's been extremely well informed, and for that I want to say thank you to the public service for all the effort that's been put in to prepare those papers. It's not an easy job, very conscious that Christmas has been in the middle of all of this, but really some very, very good and very powerful briefs, so I'm grateful for that. I don't think you really want to hear much more from me, so I will now pass to the Chief Minister.
Good afternoon, everybody. And firstly, for some of you I haven't seen yet, so Happy New Year to you and all your respective listeners and readers. Today marks the end of what I would describe as a very interactive and informative week. I would like to first start with all the thank yous, because I think there's quite a few of them, to all the parties that has contributed to the success of the week. The St Helena FAM team, which consisted of the Chief Secretary, the Deputy Chief Secretary, Financial Secretary, Deputy Financial Secretary, and the Social Policy Planner, the Governor and members of the Governor's Office, my ministers, portfolio directors, and members of the SHG Senior Leadership Team, and a special mention to elected members and the invaluable contribution they have provided. Adam is no stranger to St Helena, and neither is Ben now. He's been here 6 times. He's actually beating Adam, which I don't know if there's competition going on there between them. And then Hugh is a new member, so we had a special welcome to Hugh. This year, the ministerial team have put on the table, as requested by the UK Government FCDO, the 3 scenarios that were requested of us. But for the first time for St Helena, we've put forward a 4th option, or what is being seen by us as our first option, which is our modified zero-based budget. We have put this in the public domain before today, and what that means is that St Helena has put forward what we believe should be the baseline budget for St Helena going forward, so that when or whatever the outcome is, the UK government will know what should be required as a baseline. It's not easy. We understand the constraints in the UK at the moment, so I've recognized that not just today or through the week, but obviously I've made that very clear to our Minister Doughty. But we wouldn't be doing our job as a ministerial team if we weren't putting forward what is in the best interest of St Helena. As you know, we have been getting increases on our year-on-year budget, but I do think the baseline or the flatline budgets, or the budgets that we receive, if I use this year's budget 24-25, the amount of pain that St Helena has gone through, or the public service goes through each year, when we get a 3% increase, 4% increases, that we are really grateful for. But when we think about how the times have changed worldwide, St Helena obviously feels that pain. So if we take into consideration the context of St Helena, We are heavily reliant on importation of almost all our products and services. So we see hikes in fuel prices, our geographic location. There's no neighbor next door that we can send our medical referrals to, if I use that as an opportunity, as an example. But the modified zero-based budget, which we'd like to obviously put more information in the public domain as we go forward, does not include new projects or services. It simply incorporates the existing services, but the fact that we need more resources to provide them at a reasonable standard. Also included in the additional funding is the concern that's been raised regarding the continuation of project funding that we get. Environmental, natural resources and planning, and indeed safety, security and home affairs are helped a lot by Blue Belt, Darwin, Integrated Security Fund. I'm not sure if that name has changed again now, but previously known as CSSF. We rely on those project funding for our cloud forests, for our marine, and now for our immigration and customs. So we are concerned that if they stop at the end of this financial year, that would put even more strain on St. Helena. And then we've highlighted what funding we would need for the international obligations put upon St. Helena. So just to give a synopsis, that is what the modified zero-based budget looks like. That constitutes an additional £16 million request, which is not a small amount to be asking the UK government in such a time. But as I said, I wouldn't feel we've done a job if we hadn't done that. And then as the other thing that I think came through this week, and I have to say, I think it's been growing in the 3-year period. We're in our 4th year now, and that is the feel of the teamwork. For Team St. Helena, I think we're all part of Team St. Helena, whether we're based in the UK or here on St. Helena. But I do feel that the FCDO colleagues, both here on St. Helena and Adam and the team from the UK, we are still pulling together for a long-term strategy for the British Overseas Territories. That came out in JMC, but especially to those that are ODA dependent, which includes St. Helena. So I think it's fair to say that we are putting our best foot forward for St. Helena, but it's not knocking on closed doors. I know Adam and his team will do all they can to help us to get the best outcome for St. Helena. And the Labour government continuously tell us it's nothing about you without you. So we'll continuously use that tagline for Team St. Helena, and all I can hope is that we've given Adam and the team sufficient information to put a good case forward for us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chief Minister, and it's nice to see you all again. It's always nice to come back to St. Helena, and we've had a really, really good week. I just want to say a really big thank you to the Governor, the Chief Minister, Ministers, the Public Service for all the work that's gone into this week. And again, just echoing that on the Public Service, you should be really proud of the Public Service in St. Helena, all that they achieved to not only push the case for growing the quality of public services and the economy in St. Helena, but also advocating for St. Helena together with the Chief Minister. We spent time with elected members, which is really good to get different perspectives, the private sector, but also with the third sector, people like SHAPE, the National Trust. These are brilliant homegrown St. Helena organisations which you should be really proud of, world-leading organisations which St. Helena is showing how small island states can do things differently despite resources. And again, likewise on the environment, seeing St. Helena's blue and green agenda, what you're doing here, showing how you can run it, how saints can run projects like the Cloud Forest. Really interesting, a project run by saints for saints, but a sort of inspiration to the world. You had the Duke of Edinburgh here, you had the Speaker of the House of Commons here last year, and it was really nice to see St. Helena shine in those moments and really bring out the brilliant work that goes on in your community. We've been here, as the Chief Minister and Governor say, over the last week, working through the challenges and opportunities facing the island, not least the challenges in the economy, being frank about those, but also looking at where there are points of light and hope. We're working with the team here on what we can do on promoting the offer of St Helena in terms of the tourism sector. We're at, I think, about 90% recovery to where we were at 2019, which is the peak number. You also see sort of growth in areas like the ground station. You've got one, hopefully you'll have more soon, maximising the benefits of things like the cable. So as the Chief Minister mentioned, the financial settlement, we've managed to grow it for the last 2 years. It's increased, but also that's not the totality of it. We've been working in partnership with the teams here in St Helena on the capital project. So EDIP, the UK-funded 30 million capital programme, and seeing what the government here has been delivering with that funding through field roads, the work at Rupert's, the work underway you won't see, but behind the scenes to develop the design of the renewable energy shift. I climbed out of middle steps last weekend as I sort of spent a long time doing the Directorate swim. Really enjoyed that great community event, but also what we can do working with the teams here for their priorities through something called the Essential Equipment Fund, which is a £1 million fund where we've managed to fund things like the buses. Great to see those going round, but also hear how equipment that we've been able to support through at the CCC on things like beds and lifts to help the really good dedicated teams there. As the Chief Minister says, I feel it's a really good vibe. We have been Team St Helena, and I think it's been a journey ourselves going through the different issues, and it's a learning curve, and we've got a really good partnership. And it's what you don't see behind the scenes is that's replicated in lots of areas, and we're trying to grow that. So I think you all know that the UK Health Security Agency, who the Foreign Office support, have done a lot of work with the health team here to improve health outcomes. We're seeking to replicate that in the police and education through partnership with Hampshire, so replicating those. And it's a two-way experience. They will also be learning from your experiences in St Helena. The Chief Minister mentioned the new government in the UK. We have a Minister for the Overseas Territories, Stephen Doughty, who's very enthusiastic about the overseas territories, and rightly you noted here, his mantra is nothing about you without you, so it's really embodying the partnership with the territories. And I think what's interesting for me is I've been coming here for about 6 years now. The relationship really has changed. And from our point of view, we are committed to working at making the ministerial system work. That's empowering the local team here, making sure decisions are made in St Helena, people are accountable for them. It's really making local democracy work. This has not been a week of negotiations. This has been a joint effort to really gather the evidence, find out what the opportunities are. A large part of it is funding, a large part of it is technicalities, technical support. But also a lot of what I see here is really good. And I've mentioned SHAPE, National Trust, you are the world leaders in a lot of these areas. And we take that best practice to other overseas territories. We have seen the headlines of the other day, last week, about how the UK economy is performing. It's a challenging time economically and fiscally for the UK government at the moment. But that's why this week has been really important to gather the evidence here and work out what we can do to really support St Helena. So we will make the best possible case we can and continue that dialogue. We come here, we visit, we spend time here, our colleagues come here, but what you will not see is also there's a lot of dialogue going on remotely, behind the scenes, every day. So thank you very much for the really warm welcome, and you have a promise from us to continue to be your best advocates and Team St Helena. So thank you.
And I think the floor is now open to questions.
Thanks to the panel and to RCG for the invite for today's conference. Please see the discussions went well during the week. I don't have a huge amount of questions, as I did do an interview with Adam, Ben and Hugh on SAS on Tuesday. I would however like to turn my attention to the Chief Minister, who revealed in your Christmas message to the community about the fourth scenario that ministers will be putting forward to the visiting fam team. Glad that went ahead, and thank you for the details that you gave today with regards to that. Can I just ask you, would you say that the goal of, in your words, making the UK government aware that the annual budgets received are no longer aligned with what is required to meet St Helens' reasonable needs was successful?
I wouldn't say it was successful, but it has been stated loud and clear. We won't know, as Adam just said, it's not negotiations. but I think the reasons for it and understanding it, that's been put across clearly. As I said before, it wouldn't have come as news to the whole team, to be quite honest, because I had mentioned this in my bilateral with the Minister and in the UK in November as well.
And Adam, was the scenario welcomed by you and the team? And what can you say with regards to what this could potentially mean in the upcoming, for the upcoming financial year's budget settlement for St. Helena?
I mean, it's the Chief Minister's job to advocate for St. Helena and get the best possible settlement. And we've been working with the Chief Minister, the Chief Secretary, the Governor on all of those things. We genuinely don't know what the settlement's going to be. You know, because of the brilliant teamwork we've had over the last couple of years, we've been able to advocate and get an increase over the last couple of years on the budgetary aid and the capital funding. I honestly can't say what the settlement's going to be at this stage.
£16 million more then?
I honestly can't say. I wish I would. I wish I had a cheque now, which I could write to you.
Another thing that I questioned and didn't really get a clear answer to on Tuesday was with regards to whether financial aid support must be done year on year, or whether there is scope to do, for example, a 3-yearly budget, which would surely allow our ministers to better plan how to efficiently and effectively spend funds to drive the island forward over a longer period of time, and with more assurance with regards to funds being available for 30 years.
It's a really good question. So it's something I think we've got a shared aspiration. We'd like more longer term planning, more certainty we could provide. Just to give you perspective, it's something UK government departments are on an annual cycle at the moment. I'm hoping that we'll be able to work with colleagues in the UK and get a longer term settlement. There's areas where we can provide stability. The EDIP programme is a £30 million programme over several years. So there's a combination of different funds where we can help provide stability and certainty. But at the moment, the government of St. Helena and other government departments are working on the same basis.
Thank you. My final question is simply, what was communicated or identified by the team during these discussions as the biggest challenge that St. Helena is currently facing, or as the Chief Minister would say, the biggest priority out of all of priorities? And what financial and or technical support can the UK give to assist SHG in tackling this challenge?
Yeah, well, I think probably every minister thinks rightly so, their portfolio is the priority, and there's a lot of passion in the government of St. Helena and the individual portfolio leads, and that's really good to see. One of the things that we're quite excited to work with the Chief Minister and the team on, and we've been supporting through the partnership with Hampshire, is moving forward the education review. But there's a whole range of work going on behind the scenes, be it police, maritime. It's incredible the broad range of work that the officials and the St. Helena government do. Really admirable.
Just a quick last one then is, you did mention on radio that you can't give time frames, but I know that each minister in here hate the word roll over budget. You can't give a time frame, but can you get a commitment that you will do all that you can to ensure that we don't have to deal with roll over budget in 25-26?
It's our aspiration to try and avoid that. I wish I could give a commitment that won't be the case, but we're working now to get a settlement sorted as soon as possible.
Thank you very much.
I did have 2 questions. Like Liam, we have talked. But also, Liam has very kindly asked the 2 questions I have.
Working in partnership, Team St. Helena.
Genuinely, is that it, Vince? Nothing else?
Yes, very relaxed today.
Okay, in that case, okay, unless you would like to, we do have a few more minutes if you'd like to take advantage.
No, I didn't have any more questions down except for if you got Hugh to do the chicken ladder challenge.
Rec to rec is enough for me.
Well, listen, thank you so much today for coming in. Appreciate it. As I've said, this is one of the major events of the year, isn't it, in terms of these discussions? And I will reiterate the thanks, and I'm grateful to the Chief Minister for the breadth of the thanks. It's appropriate because there are so many people involved in getting to the point where we are in ensuring that Adam and the team can be as informed as possible in making the case for St. Helena. On that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We are done.
Thank you.
Thank you.